Hey everybody, my name is Andy Belford. I'm a part of the Overwatch 2 community team, and we're here with another episode of Dev Chat. Joining us today, we've got a couple of very special guests. Introducing our good friend, Alec Dawson, the lead hero designer. Say hi, Alec.
Hey everybody, excited to chat today.
Awesome. And then because we are going to be diving into some nitty gritty about supports, well, it only made sense to bring the most well-known support specialist in the Overwatch community on board. ML7, say hello to everybody out there.
Hey everybody, I'm ML7 and I play support, not healer.
That's right. Oh, I can feel the Twitch chat now. All right. So we've got a lot to talk about with Lifeweaver. We just made this announcement a couple of days ago. If you're out there on the YouTube, you should be seeing a lot of videos from content creators popping up about now. But before we get into that, Alec, how do you feel about talking a little bit about Season 3? Because I think from an overall community perspective, it feels like Season 3 was in a pretty solid state from a balance perspective. We've seen a lot of, really positive sentiment regarding some of the changes that we made with Sojourn, some of the balance adjustments that we've made, especially with the Wrecking Ball, like seeing him come out within the meta and being a dominant hero. So, how are you feeling about the way things are, and how's the team feeling about balance in Season 3?
Yeah, it's a good question. The team's been feeling great. I think with Season 3, we saw a lot of variety, especially at the tank role in particular. Tons of variety there. A lot of Reinhardt, a lot of Wrecking Ball, as you mentioned. Even later on this season, we've seen some uptick in Zarya play and things of that nature. So a lot of variety overall. I think the game's been in a very healthy state from what we've been just seeing in terms of heroes can get picked. Going to Season 4, we're even dropping map pools. So we feel like that's even going to increase more variety on specific, overall, there's, this season had a lot of sniper maps and things of that nature. So that map pool going away will actually open up even more for the whole roster.
I think that's an interesting point there. I know that personally, I'm really excited about the removal of map pools. I know that a lot of players will be excited to get that more map variety, because for a lot of folks, maps are a big reason why they play Overwatch. And then, I would echo what you said from a balance standpoint. We kind of have a saying in community is that if everybody's a little bit unhappy with some things, but overall happy with most things, then we're in a good place. And that doesn't mean we should rest on our laurels, of course. We're constantly looking for opportunities to improve, adjust, and change the experience. But ML, I'm interested in your take, and I know you had some questions about Season 3. What have you been seeing on live servers? What have you been experiencing during your streams, and what questions do you have?
I feel like Season 3 was a really good season, team comp-wise. We had a lot of heroes being played. We've seen a lot of Reinhardt, a lot of Wrecking Ball, Ana, Zenyatta, Mercy, a huge diversity of heroes compared to Season 1 and 2, in my opinion. So the game is slowly but surely evolving into a really good state, gameplay-wise. But I do gotta ask you, what are some of the heroes that caught your attention in Season 3?
Yeah, I think some of the ones that definitely caught our attention, we made those adjustments early on to Wrecking Ball, right? I think that definitely caught our eye. The story of Wrecking Ball, there's a decline over time. Oh, not too steep, but Wrecking Ball didn't fall off. But, there's a steady decline throughout the season. So it was interesting to see where that story ended up. And then who else rose with Wrecking Ball? We saw a lot of Brig play. We saw a lot of Zen play. We weren't really seeing those heroes be as much meta picks. And then late in the season, we've been seeing a lot more Mei, even in some pro games as well. And some of the pro-am stuff, we've been seeing Mei get played a lot. So we're keeping an eye on seeing where she ends up.
So let's get a little bit specific talking about some of the tanks that you just brought up. I mean, namely, of course, Rein. And here's one that was a little bit surprising for me to hear about. Zarya has actually seen an uptick in usage. And then, of course, Wrecking Ball. What have we actually seen since the mid-season patch that happened just a few weeks ago at this point, but, that happened, back mid-season?
Yeah, Zarya was definitely the biggest winner there in terms of her win rate overall, right? I think we're at a comfortable state in terms of how long the cooldowns are on the bubbles and how long they last. So we're in this nice state where it isn't Overwatch 2 launch in terms of how powerful she was, but it's in a pretty good state. She went up from being a hero that was around 45% win rate at multiple segments to being around 50%, so that's a pretty big adjustment there. And we feel like she's in a good place now. I think it's one of those things where when we nerf heroes, we want to look at them over time, see how they perform, see if we want to make any small buffs. And Zarya to this point got a few to get back to that place where we feel like she's, pretty viable now.
Okay. So Alec, you did mention like, we are seeing a lot of new tanks in the meta right now. ML, like that you just call that out, like it's a big reason. What are you seeing out there, and like what has been like the impact on like the fun factor in the games that you've been in?
I feel like right now, Overwatch has always had gameplay wise, at least in top 500, you have always been having the issues in which you have players that would specialize in one hero, and then you could counter that hero pretty well. Right now, with how balance is made, I feel like, for example, if you want to play with Zarya, you'd have a chance at winning. If you want to play with Wrecking Ball, you have a chance at winning. And I feel like the dev team is responding quite fast to seeing heroes that don't have that big of a win rate because of the previous nerfs. Like Zarya got a bunch of nerfs from what I remember a couple of months ago. Now, small buffs, and we're still seeing her being played. I think that's how Overwatch should be. Every hero should be viable, even if not optimal, and you shouldn't feel discouraged that you're going to lose the game if you're not on the strongest team comp available in the meta right now, right then, because nobody plays perfectly, let's be honest. Mistakes can happen, and having all of these heroes available with different playstyles, Reinhardt with the shield, the Wrecking Ball just rolling to the back line, and Zarya just walking up and zapping you, is what makes Overwatch fun.
Right on. And one of the things to keep in mind there too is that actually changes, around the world as you go from region to region. We're talking about Zarya, we're talking about, Wrecking Ball, we're talking about, Reinhardt being strong. However, and this is really interesting, the community team, we were just talking to Alec about this earlier this week, in Korea, like actually Diva is considered very strong meta, right? Because they focus much more around the dive rush kind of comps. Alec, what do you think when you hear, what ML just broke down, and then kind of contextualizing it with some of the feedback we're getting from other regions?
Yeah, I think part of our job is definitely looking at some of those outliers still. I do think there's heroes at the bottom end that we're still looking at in terms of trying to bring them over time, or they're in a position where, hey, there's more of a rework in progress. Heroes like Roadhog, I think, aren't meeting that bar. Sometimes we look at Orisa. Was she over nerfed over time? We're still taking a look at that as well. So those are some of the heroes we're talking about. Sombra, in a few seasons, we'll talk more about like what her changes are going to be. So those are some of the heroes that we definitely see are on the bottom end. We'd like to lift up over time as well, because while we have a lot of variety, it's never good to have some heroes that may just feel like they're out of the game or out of the meta. And we want them to be more involved and be more viable overall.
I want to ask Alex something. Are there any heroes that you think the community might be undervaluing strength-wise, like Andy said about Diva? Like right now everybody's talking about Reinhardt, Wrecking Ball, Zarya. Are there any heroes that you think are in a strong state, but we haven't caught onto that yet?
It's interesting. I think a lot of the heroes that are in strong states, people have mentioned or been seeing some comps like pop up, like Bastion has been seeing a lot more play. May's been seeing a lot more play. One that people kind of know of, but they don't really talk about that much is Sigma. I think Sigma's been strong for quite a while, actually, yes. Especially on some of the maps we've been playing lately. He just doesn't gain a lot of ire or anything like that. He's never really a hot topic in the community. So, there's an adjustment to Sigma coming into season 4, a small one to the Rock. So we'll talk about that more later too.
I think with Sigma, like it's one of those things, and I think Sigma's starting to kind of fall into some of the Reinhardt category where, if you look at, like, I know ML has said this, I know Flats and Emong and several creators have said this, is like when Ryan is in the meta, like the game is in a healthy state, right? And I feel like Sigma is kind of falling in that way. Now, keep in mind, like this is my, gold, silver, Andy opinion here, but like, with Sigma, it feels like there's some very obvious counterplay to it. Like, and it's easy to understand, and what you're playing around. Like, the cooldown on the Rock, like the shield has that value, right? And it's only got the set amount of utility, things like that. And so, just an observation. I think that possibly could be contributing to that.
I would also like to say that I feel like old school Overwatch heroes are really loved. Meta-wise, and we will always default to them. Like me personally, I enjoy playing with Reinhardt team comps, with Winston team comps and stuff. And Sigma's kind of new. He wasn't there at the beginning. And the experience that we've had playing with certain heroes will slowly but surely make us feel like it takes some time, what I'm trying to say, to get adjusted to new heroes and new playstyle. And I feel like even if Sigma is not seen as really strong, I think that he's strong kit-wise and stuff, but he just doesn't stand out experience-wise. Like, he's not that frustrated to play against. He's like, okay, Sigma's good on that map, good design overall. He's not like a big shield in front of you, I pin in, I'm either too strong or I'm too weak. So overall, I think that his design is what makes him go a little bit under the radar.
So, because I know we got a lot still to get through here, I'm going to go ahead and move us on to damage. You were mentioning you mentioned Sombra. I thought that was kind of funny because she saw a lot of play in this in the recent tournament, right?
Definitely.
That was great to see. But let's actually take a second to talk about Cassidy. So we're going to be making some changes to Cassidy in season 3 and season 4, and it's going to be targeting the mag grenade. And this is, look, from the community side, we've been getting a lot of feedback about this over the last few months. A lot of Cassidy specialists have been, having some conversations with us, and we're trying to understand, what's the point of frustrations with Cassidy? And so the changes we're going to be making, we're going to be changing magnetic grenade damage, reducing that from 131 down to 120. And then we're also going to be reverting his base health back from 225 down to 200. Alec, what's the goals here? What are we trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times this is looking at, where's Cassie in the meta, and Cassie's by far and away the most popular damage hero. It's not even really close in terms of percentages from what we're seeing. And then some of those changes there are to, hey, first mag grenade, we get a lot of feedback about mag grenade in particular, and how frustrating it can maybe play. Going down to 120, hit some of those breakpoints, on a 200 HP character. Also with the HP decrease, we're sort of looking overall at Cassie and whether he should be framed as this mid-range hero or maybe a little bit more long-range. So actually down the line, we have some further changes for Magnetic Grenade Plan that we're still working on, and that might become more long-range ability too. So we're looking at his kit holistically, trying to figure out exactly where he's going to end up. But putting that HP back, because he did get that gun in terms of the gun buff from last season. That's been doing a lot of work for him too. So we're reducing a few things. Hopefully not as whenever Cassie is good, he instantly kind of becomes one of the most popular characters in the game, and that's been true basically all season 3.
I just want to say that Cassidy is really consistent overall. It's all about that risk factor. Like Widowmaker, you might miss your shots. With Cassidy, okay, you miss 3 or 4, you're going to reload fast and then consistently put out a bunch of damage. I just want to say that I just thank you for making it feel less frustrating to play against the Cassidy. When you get body shot and then you get the grenade attached to you, you would die because that would be over 200 damage. Right now it's at 190, I think. Mm-hmm. So should definitely be less frustrating to play against.
If you would like to go check out the full patch notes, you can read more about this stuff on the official forums. We have them live now. So let's get into support. Before we talk about Lifeweaver, let's talk about support. So we've seen some changes, like we've mentioned before, like Brig, Zenyatta, they're coming into the meta. Alec, I know support's been one of our biggest areas that we've been focusing on for a long time. Like Aaron just released a letter, stating the approach that we are taking to supports and the kind of feedback that we get. How do you feel like supports are feeling since the mid-season patch?
Yeah, we feel pretty good about the safe support at the moment. There's been a lot of buffs over time. There's even some more buffs here for the supports. Holistically, we've just been looking at the role and how much pressure they've been, feeling and how have they been able to actually fight back in a lot of positions too. So that's where a lot of their buffs have been targeted at times as well. So we feel like there's a lot of variety in the role at the moment. Ana is still very popular. And then we're going to be adding a new support that I'll talk about later, so that increases hopefully even more, choice there. I think that's really important to us over time, is to build out the support role, add more supports throughout the year, and hopefully, players can latch on to ones that they really love. So we feel pretty good about it. ML, what about you?
I'm going to say this, Alec. I think that compared to Season 1, support does feel a little bit better to play. I think that we still haven't found the sweet spot yet, but definitely I can see more tools than before being added to the game to try to help out support and support gameplay overall. So I'm excited for the future and what Season 4 has in store for us.
Very cool. I know that you had another question you were wanting to ask here about the synergy between, seeing Brig and Zen popping up and the synergy between them and Wrecking Ball. Did you want to expand a little bit more on that, ML?
Yes. So from my understanding, Brig and Zen have been played together quite a lot compared to before, right? So we've seen an uptime in their playtime. Do you think that this is because of Wrecking Ball being very strong? And if yes, if let's say Wrecking Ball will not be played that much in the future, do you keep an eye out for Brigands then if they're going to be at the same power level or not?
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on it. I mean, Wrecking Ball in particular, they do play nice there. I think like Brig and Ryan can play together a lot too. There's a lot of that going on. Zen's just been quite strong. He got that little bit of a buff overall to reduce how many windows of vulnerability that he has in terms of increasing the ammo to 25 now. So we'll keep an eye on them independently as well, and just see, when these changes come in with, Lifeweaver as well. What comes with Lifeweaver? Is that going to be a thing, right? So that's how we'll be kind of taking a broader look at it.
Okay, so you're waiting to see with the new support if they're going to gel differently, if you can see different team support combos to see if they need changes or not in the future.
Definitely.
Okay.
Speaking of changes, I just want to make sure you all are buckled in for this one because it's time to talk about Mercy. Are we ready? Okay, so as always, Mercy is a very polarizing hero within the community. And I think that, no matter what, like any change that we make to Mercy is always going to drive a significant amount of conversation, both critical and positive, right? And, I think that, Alec, I'd be curious to know, like, your take on community response to the changes that we introduced to Mercy in season 3. And also, like, let's talk also about like where we're going to be moving to with that. So, why don't you go ahead and go through your thoughts on that response, and then I can give an update on what we're going to be doing with Mercy in season 4.
Yeah, of course. I think the season 3 changes, there was a lot of good, and there were some things we weren't as good, right? I think in particular, if you look at something like the buff to the change to her staff, where you're healing allies that they're underneath 50%, you're healing them more. I think as a design goal, that was achieving what we wanted in terms of her being this triage healer. She's really like looking for like when she might need to heal and actually save some of her allies a bit better, right? But on the opposite side, on the enemy side, it was like, well, how can I can't kill this target? That's how it felt for a lot of players, right? They felt like it was really hard to chew through that healing, really hard to actually, kill a target that Mercy was pocketing. So we are going to be reverting that entirely, going back to 55 as a standard, no longer getting that bonus. But then some other things we really enjoyed, like her sympathetic recovery passive, where as Mercy heals her allies, she heals as well. We really like that one. We're going to keep that. So there's a number of things going into season 4 that we're keeping, a number of things that we're looking back on that, hey, this isn't entirely what we wanted to get out of it. And there was a good goal there. May not have gotten there 100%. I think another thing is regarding Angel changes, right? Now we're looking at it. So it broke some of her synergies that she had in her kit. Say you fly to an ally to res them. There was definitely some moments there where, hey, Mercy could kind of be sitting really vulnerable. Now, if you do that, the cooldown's going down, so you'll be able to get out. But if you're opting into using her crouch cancel or the space bar to actually get that extra mobility, you're going to extend your cooldown. So giving her a bit more optionality there than what we have currently.
All right. So speaking of those changes and kind of like going back on some of the things that we implemented before, in season 4, Mercy will see her Caduceus staff healing per second increase from 45 to 55. Healing is no longer increased for allies under half health. Guardian Angel, we're changing the cooldown from 2.5 and back to the 1.5 seconds. Jump crouch, aka super jump, which is something that a lot of Mercy specialists like really enjoy about her kit. We'll now keep the ability active for an additional 0.5 seconds. Previously, it was 1 second, and so that's a little bit of an adjustment there, and I think adds some challenge to the mobility, but still being responsive to player feedback that we've gotten. Stopping Guardian Angel with the ability input after using a jump or crouch cancel no longer starts the cooldown sooner. And then for Valkyrie, the support role passive healing is now active for the duration of Valkyrie as well. So, Alec, why did we make these changes specifically?
Yeah, a lot of this is, based on just how Mercy's been playing season 3, a lot of the feedback from the community, looking at how players are feeling as Mercy or how are they feeling playing against Mercy. And these are some things where, hey, the Valkyrie change that we made, we wanted to kick that back in, let players, like, they don't always have to be healing to get, healing allies to actually get that kicked in. They can go around and fly as Mercy and try to use their guns sometimes. I know players really do enjoy trying to do things of that nature too. So a lot of this is tiny adjustments over time and getting a lot of feedback from the community to see what's feeling best. And hopefully this State of Mercy will feel really good.
Awesome.
I feel like with Mercy, I play Mercy from time to time, not too much. But whenever I play Mercy, considering how many iterations she had, she requires a lot of muscle memory. I like the fact that you're bringing back the Guardian Angel at 1.5 seconds compared to 2.5 seconds. And I want to ask you this. Is this the iteration that you think you'll be satisfied with going on into the future? And if yes, and if this is going to become, if she's going to become meta, will we just see number adjustments, or can we expect more changes to her mobility in case she's really strong?
Yeah, I think changing her mobility is something we're really sensitive to, right? And if anything, we've been doing it maybe too much at this point in time. So we hope that this change in particular will let it settle for a little while, see how this goes. Maybe look if there's any other changes that need to be made. Maybe look at the rest of her kit, then target her mobility initially. Because as you said, that muscle memory is really important. Players have been building that for a long time. And hopefully this one we can settle on and then see how the rest of everything else plays out.
So coming in Season 4, we also have some changes for Moira. Fade can now be activated during Coalescence. Coalescence bonus movement speed has been reduced from 50 to 40%, and Biotic Grasp lingering heal duration has been increased from 2 to 3 seconds. Alec, give us a little bit of insight as to the design goals here.
Yeah, so one of those goals we've been having for Moira for a while is increase her playmaking ability. We still in the background are maybe looking at where her utility is. Does anything need to be added? But we played with this change in particular. You could fade during Coalescence, and it's just a lot of fun, a lot of highlights there for Moira. She feels really powerful during the ultimate, even more than she did before. So this change in particular, is part of that playmaking ability. When she activates her ult, she can, jump into the back line and things of that nature. So it's pretty cool.
Moira has been, I think, through a lot of evaluation, even, back in the beta phase, right? And ML7, like you probably remember, like the Moira, like the Biotic Orb buff that we made to try and add some utility to it. Did you have some thoughts on this? Yeah, the enfeebling
orb. I personally loved it, but DPSs and tanks didn't. I've always been a fan of Moira. I love playing Moira. The only thing with Moira I feel like is the fact that apart utility-wise, she only brings healing and damage. And we see that in Season 4, she gets a small healing buff that the lingering effect increases from 2 to 3 seconds. And we also see that you can fade during Coalescence. So you can readjust and reposition in the team fights, either to escape or to secure kills, which is cool. I can definitely see the playmaking potential. But at the higher ranks, it always comes to the question, if we need more than healing and damage, then we're not going to pick Moira. What else? Who else can we pick? So the question that I have for you is the following. Are you considering adding some form of utility to Moira other than healing or damage? Or are you satisfied with the fact that Moira is, I would say, probably the highest healing support in the game?
It's still something we're looking at, but I wouldn't say it's, top of the list in terms of what our game needs right now, in terms of what the cast may need, and in terms of those reworks or who might need the most attention. Moira, we want her to be that comfort pick. We don't want to mess up her flow too much. We really want her to be this place where, hey, if you feel like you need damage or you need more healing, she has some of those raw numbers, especially at some of the lower ranks, right? So we want to make sure we don't mess with her flow. She stays in sort of that role that she is providing for a lot of players. But we have tried some things. Added some utility, some of the orbs, and seeing what's happened. Nothing is stuck just yet. So we're still working on that in the background.
Could you give us one example? I know I'm reaching out.
Gosh.
Not the one that almost made it through, if there's one. Just one idea.
Okay, I'll give you one that's not happening. But we definitely played a fun where, as you launch the orb, it would actually reveal any targets it was hitting. But the problem was it was so many, and it felt like it wasn't really natural to Moira and who she is and what her kit actually is about. So that's not going to happen. But we've been messing up a bunch of them. We'll keep messing around. There's a lot of stuff. I think, even some ones in the future they may see in events. We've been trying things, but nothing to announce.
When you're looking at other utility you can add to Moira, do you look only at the orb or at the fade and coalescence as well?
Yeah, I think orb is one of those places where we just believe that there is room for that in particular. But at the same time, we don't want to break that flow. So it's like, is there room for utility in when the orb is shot, and you don't have to do anything else, right? Does it do something a little bit different in its effect? Things like that. So that's just a place where I feel like, those moves are relatively basic. There might be a little bit of room to add a tiny bit of complexity there, but we don't want to overdo it. I do think Fate has, quite a bit already on it with the jump and everything.
The movement and on this
one. Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of adding utility, let's transition to one of my favorite supports, Brigitte. Now, in mid-season 2, we increased the health on her shield. In the start of season 3, we added that additional burst of healing to her health pack. So I think, we've been pretty steadily looking and examining Brigitte. And Alec, you've actually been talking about wanting to take a close look at the ultimate ability. And players are going to see Brig's new ultimate ability starting in season 4. Alec, do you mind kind of going over these changes? And let's get into it.
Yeah, so there's a number of changes here. The goal is being to make this a bit more situational in terms of how good it can be in certain situations, and also increase what you're thinking of doing with the ult. Also makes Brig a little bit more scary in the ult as well. So at the beginning of the ultimate, she gains 100 armor health, and this is restorable for duration of rally. Right, so she just gains this. She presses Q, it comes up, she has it. But no longer will she actually build up the gradual temporary health like all of her allies. So you have to think about that in terms of, you have this armor health and you're using Inspire to keep it active and up, right? The biggest change, or I guess in terms of size, is that her shield actually gets bigger during this ult. So it actually gets pretty wide. It's a pretty big thing for Brig, and its health pool goes from 300 to 750. So she now has a big old shield on the front of her. And during rally, so during the ultimate, that shield can stun. So it actually has, as wide as it is, you can actually use shield bash during the ultimate. So you can get one, I think maybe two at the end of it. You can actually apply a stun there with that ultimate. So she is pretty scary. And to make sure she's not too brutal in this, her movement speed has been decreased there while she's in the ult from the 30% increase down to 15%. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun. We've been playing with it for a while. Been waiting to let the community get their hands on it as well. But I think the shield and everything has just been a great job from the team in terms of the art and the presentation of it and how it looks.
I think anybody who has watched some of the trailers that we put out for Overwatch over the years, and has seen that one where Brig and Ryan make the super mega shield, and so the minute I heard this, I thought about that, and I'm just I love this. Really just makes Brig feel like a tank for just a moment. The question that I would have is these changes, they're really cool. And you talked about some of the design goals. We know that this change, might be a little polarizing for some people. What are your feelings there on that? And how are we going to keep monitoring that and adjusting?
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep a pulse on whether this feels overwhelming or not in terms of being on the enemy side and how that feels. Our intention there is to make Brig feel like she's much more impactful during her ult and actually have a lot more decision making within that, adding some layers to the ultimate itself. So those are two things we're going to be mostly monitoring. Is Brig terrorizing everyone in terms of running around and stunning the whole enemy team? That doesn't happen that often unless she's comboing with certain abilities too. So I think it's one of the things that we don't want to introduce, and then Brig suddenly is just the meta pick immediately, especially when we're, introducing a brand new support hero to the lineup as well. We want to make sure this is something that's really great for Brig, but also not too overwhelming on the other side.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, let's hear
a lot
them.
of questions. Yeah, because I'm a bit scared about Raid Boss Brig again. Played a bunch of Overwatch 1, and she took control over the meta for a very long time. Mm-hmm. But here are my questions. So first things first. How did you come up with the increase in the shield size?
Yeah, I think that it's actually a change the team's been playing around with for a while. This is before I was on the team, but this is a change that the team's been keeping in the back of their mind, something that we knew we wanted to look at. It didn't get into the initial Overwatch 2 changes. We didn't have necessarily the exact design we wanted at that point in time, but we tried a number of things, and the shield getting bigger was one of those things we've been trying. There was actually an iteration where the shield was invulnerable during the ultimate. That proved, I don't think it had the stun at that point, but that proved to be a little bit too much, and you kind of just sat there with the shield and enemies were shooting. They're like, wait, what's going on here?
So Brig kind of takes the role of a tank during her ultimate. That's the intention.
A little bit, yeah. Say if you have the sense where Reaper's going to come down. You can maybe pop this right before, stun the Reaper, like right before he ults or in his ult, and, sort of make some of those types of plays.
Were there any other ideas thrown around? And if yes, why were they scrapped for this one?
Yeah, I think the Invul Shield one was one of the ones I distinctly remember. There was a number of other iterations, but that was the one I think we tried with the most and tried to get most gameplay sense out of. But it proved to just not be something that was intuitive to the enemies.
Would we see any extra utility added to her in the future other than her being just tanky overall? Because this is what I feel is like Brig's identity, kind of like a very tanky hero during her ultimate at least.
Yeah, we feel like she's in a relatively good place in terms of, how much she's getting played and how useful she's being in certain places. I do think the armor pack adjustment that we made gave her a little bit better of a way to, actually heal her allies as well. So we'll sit on this one for a while, just like some of those Mercy changes, see where Brig ends up and see if there's anything that actually needs to be added.
And I have one more question, if possible. One more, okay, you mentioned the stun during her ultimate. How long is the stun duration?
It's pretty brief. So it's just like the old stun in terms of how long that was. I think it's 0.5 seconds, correct? 0.5.
And you can hit multiple targets with it?
You can hit multiple targets, yeah.
Oof, okay. So, it sounds really fun from the perspective of the Brig player, but I'm curious what the enemy team will feel like. But you assured us that you're going to keep a close eye on Brig and how strong she is or she isn't. And hopefully if she becomes like a very strong pick, things will get adjusted quite quickly.
Yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one.
It's interesting too, because we're talking about like adding new utility to heroes, right? And we're going to be talking about Lifeweaver in just a few moments, but one thing I'm noticing, like with this change and with Lifeweaver's ultimate ability, like we're actually giving supports more ability to kind of take up space on the map, right? And to offer zone control. Is this like a trend that you kind of want to continue, Alec? Or like what are kind of the team's goals in adding this additional utility to the roster?
Yeah, it's one of the goals. I think sort of not necessarily the Brig change follows this goal, but there's like a overall goal supports that they're a bit more scrappy in Overwatch 2 than they necessarily were in Overwatch 1. And I think a lot of the changes we've been making over time, we'll say like Zen Kick, right? And some of those types of changes where they can fight for themselves. It shouldn't be this thing where a damaged character, faces down a support character and sort of like knowing what's going to happen in that engagement. They should be able to defend themselves. They should be able to fight in that engagement at least a little bit, right? So this is sort of the overall. We want them to be pretty scrappy compared to how they may have been Overwatch 1 and adding some things to let them fight back. And I think you've seen changes over time that have gotten them into that position.
So that's a lot of balance changes coming your way in Season 4, but I think we know why most folks are here today. So let's go ahead and dive straight into it, and let's talk about our newest support hero, Lifeweaver. Before we dive into the kit, if you haven't checked out the trailer, be sure to go check out the trailer. Be sure to check out the story video. It's all amazing. I know that you all will love it and love the character of Lifeweaver. But Alec, let's get into the nitty-gritty about hero design and balance, and also have a little talk about some meta impact there. So to kick things off, would you like to go over the Lifeweaver's abilities and his kit?
Yeah, I'll review the kit for those of you who haven't seen it yet. So starting off, Lifeweaver's primary fire is Healing Blossom. You hold it to charge, actually, this flower in his hand, and then you release it, has homing and soft targeting, so it will actually home into your ally, healing them. Just like Mercy, Lifeweaver actually does have a weapon swap as well, though. So he can deal some damage. He has his Thorn Volley on the weapon swap. It's a little unruly, but can deal some damage there. Now, moving on to his abilities. Our first ability here is Rejuvenating Dash. You can dash in any direction. It's on relatively low cooldown and heal yourself. Gives Lifeweaver a little bit of mobility there. And then we have, on the secondary fire, Pedal Platform. So Pedal Platform is Lifeweaver actually throws out this seed and it creates a platform in the world, right? And as someone steps on it, they get lifted up. So you can use this on allies to lift, say, a Widowmaker up to get a nice little vantage point. You can use it on enemies, say, stopping an ult like Orisa or something like that, or use it for yourself. That's actually one of the biggest use cases of Lifeweaver. Throw it on the Pedal Platform and give himself a nice vantage point to heal his allies from. Our next ability is definitely one of the most eye-opening abilities that Lifeweaver has is Life Grip. So you actually pull an ally to you, to your location. So you envelop them in invulnerability state, and then they actually get brought towards you. It's on a pretty long cooldown. It's 20 seconds. But this can save all your allies if they're at low health and in a bad situation. Say your Genji went in and he doesn't have any of his cooldowns left. It's like, all right, get back over here, right? Your Reinhardt charges in. Might have missed. Get back over here. So things of that nature are really great. And this ability in particular has a lot of playmaking ability just tied up in it. You combine it with some ultimates to do some crazy stuff too. So a lot to talk about there. Next up, Tree of Life is the ultimate. Lifeweaver builds this tree in the world, and on the initial build, it actually does a pulse of healing, and then every second another pulse of healing. So it's just safe space that your team can actually rally around, and they can get constant healing from. It can be destroyed by enemies though, and it has 1,000 health. Just like Pedal Platform, these things can be destroyed. Pedal Platform has 400 health. The Tree of Life has 1,000 health. And then last but not least, there's a passive on Lifeweaver as well called Parting Gift. So when he dies, he leaves this flower in the world, and enemies or allies can pick it up. So allies can pick it up for health, and enemies can also pick it up for health, but allies do get more. So that's Lifeweaver's kit. I'm really excited to talk about this here. It's one of my favorite heroes we've released so far, and excited about any questions you may have about them.
So before we actually get into those questions and talk about the gameplay impact, we recently recorded some scrims with several of our very well-known content creators. So what do you say, folks? You want to take a look and listen at that?
Let's do it.
All right, let's roll it.
Gonna put a wall on top of the flower.
Oh my god.
I really want to trap someone in a room.
Wait, can we actually do that at the start? Can we try? Like, just to see how high we can get? I want to see.
Just in the flower down.
Yeah,
What are we
perfect.
trying?
Like,
Just put the flower down right now.
Put the flower down? Put the flower down?
Oh, sorry.
Well, I
I
can't.
was excited. I was
Guru!
excited. Try again.
Have it in 5. What are we doing with it?
We can try to like
ice ball on top of it.
Yeah,
That's why
Wait,
it's
maybe
not
yeah.
I want to see how far. Yeah.
I think it's gonna bounce
No,
off.
no.
Just put the flower down.
Just-
let me
yeah,
test the.
Okay. Yeah.
Lots more options from above.
Okay, cancel flower.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, no way!
No, you can't.
Wait, can we do that at the start?
No
Can we do it here?
way.
I want to sit up there for the rocket.
Where?
You have the
Well,
cooldowns
it's too
for
late.
it.
It's too late.
Just
yeah.
right here?
Okay. It's a lid.
Genji.
I'm gonna put a platform that goes high right there.
What? Okay.
No dash
Balls
on
coming around. The balls coming
Lifeweaver.
around.
Okay. I pulled Metro.
Thank you.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, they pulled them. I'm on the Weaver though.
Soldier 1. I'm gonna flank left
I'm
side.
gonna-
Can we kill Sigma
Sorry.
maybe? Sigma's alone.
Yours, AJ.
Oh, they're resing. Sigma low.
Soldier one.
I'm here. Sigma 1. I need help.
Where is he?
One
Oh,
mercy.
there he is.
Mercy half. Mercy very
I'm
low.
hitting him. Oh, nice.
Here, we can chase her.
Yeah. Oh. Ow.
Weaver won.
I got lost.
I'll drop probably low. When you got pulled.
Oh, there's that res or the rose thing.
They're on
Die.
Sombra now.
Oh, it's
Get
true.
the hang of
I'll get you
this. I put a platform on the corner.
Okay.
I'll go aggro.
Yeah, I see him. He's up here. What the heck?
Heals on you, Ski.
Thank you.
Ball hack. I'm one. He's one.
Here's a platform.
Oh, he won.
Oh, wrong button.
Mercy on the
Sorry.
left. Mercy 1.
God, you control so hard.
Top
with
left.
Yeah, it's gonna be really
that.
painful.
Oh,
Don't
Don't make
gonna
any
really like
support
him.
main mad.
Yeah, that's definitely true. On Rissy. Mercy one. You got pulled, Mercy one.
Soldier high ground.
I can go for him soon. I'm gonna. I missed him. I'll push point it.
Soldier 1. He's out.
I blocked Diva's escape.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help you guys.
I think we're good. Okay, yeah, I'm.
Like from here, you can do it here. They're not gonna expect it. Can you do
Okay,
it?
hold on. Yeah. Flower's on the point. Oh,
Oh.
I'm dead.
Oh, well, that's our flower.
Yeah, they put a tree on top of it.
Yeah. I was just wondering why I didn't die with EMP.
I'm coming.
Kill this ball!
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is I can do that every time, but we don't have enough damage to kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, Mercy behind. Right side.
I'm chasing Mercy,
I'm
Sorry, no
pushing. Sorry,
bubbles.
kill Zarya.
She's gonna get yoinked.
The pool, I forgot.
Yeah, I can pocket your blade.
Okay.
I can go in for blade. I'm going in for blade.
Got him. Keep me up. Can you get, oh, got the blade. Wait, is that our tree or theirs?
It's mine.
Ours.
Up, you don't. Oh, big. Zarya's
Can we kill Zarya? Kill Zarya?
Yeah. Try to reload. You got yoinked. Gotta back up a little.
I'm gonna go and swap. I can't play ball here.
I have Valkyrie.
I might go Hanzo.
Their EMP is matching my ultra.
Honestly, you could try to bait the tree, like put it really far in their back line, and then if he
Yeah,
doesn't
true.
EMP, we
Oh,
push
you
with
can
it or
die.
something.
I like that.
It'll hinder their vision.
I'm 85.
I'm gonna Valk now.
Alright, I'm putting it all the way up there.
Grab. Oh,
Zarya low?
I can res.
I'm cut off by a tree. Just kill the tree. Nice.
Oh god.
I'm here.
I'm on their supports.
Soldier.
Soldier 1.
Alright.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Let's go. That was so smart, Aspen.
I mean, if that's all he's going for, you know.
Yeah.
It actually
Plus,
helped
it's
me too,
literally
because I was like
just
back there.
blocking.
Yeah, it helped you to
Like
live.
you can't see.
Initiating match.
They do that platform visor thing. You can stand directly under the platform and they can't shoot you.
True.
I feel like there's gonna be like spots you can learn where you could body block people.
Yeah, with this thing.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I don't know how it picks the height that it goes up to.
They said it was based off of like whatever's above
I
it.
hate when people run off without me. Up and at him.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of those spots. Oh, Deku, let me know when you have Bob. I want to save my E for it.
Oh my gosh.
Together
Same
then.
spot. 3, 2.
No, use it or switch off and then switch back. So we can.
Too late.
Let's
go.
We'll be fine.
Okay, let's go right here. Go right here. Everyone's
Okay.
standing together. We're gonna flower.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Ice wall. Wait, we can't. We got.
No, why are you going?
We can't get out of it. It's not high enough.
What?
They're stealing my thing.
Come on, Missy.
Pick it up.
Ram right side.
I was like, what? There's a. I don't know if this is helpful.
Oh, I got scared.
And we can do it same spot.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
The Mercy doesn't heal more if you're at half now.
Yeah.
Oh, I can grapple it. What the heck?
Oh, that's sick.
You like lifted it as I had a grapple on it.
Oh, I just used you to body block.
Wait,
I
can
was
you
able to
send one
do,
in this one?
Yeah. Oh, I have to
Sure,
step
yeah, I'll
on
use
it.
it.
Well,
The hog. The hook. I was able to do like Diags off of it.
Hog's close left.
that's sick. Oh
Hit
god.
downward Diags off the flower. It's just gonna be sick.
Hog and Marin.
Yeah, I can Valk in. They're going up.
Minnow,
Oh,
yeah.
Hog right. I messed up. I'm Valking.
I can pull you out.
Nah, ain't no way he just did that to me.
Oh.
He just.
Reaper's
nah.
low.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna give him some ticks and I'll go.
Yeah. Wait, I'm here with you. You got her, you got her. Aw.
Follow. I got him. Just burst through them. Nice.
Oh, I just killed
Is
my
that tree gonna die to the cart? Nope.
No? Okay, I'm pocketing Guru from now on. Goodbye.
Bye.
I'm carroting. Take the platform!
I got a Genji and a Genji and a ball on cart.
Uh-oh. Oh, we need to help her.
Pull me.
Later. Indian.
Oh, Mercy. Yeah.
Nice.
Pulling 6.
They have to like jump and then
You're a
look at
second
that. You see that flower? They have
Yeah.
to jump and then crouch through it in order to get to it. Left, yeah, pull. Oh, it doesn't.
Oh,
plant?
it doesn't. Yeah, I put a platform though.
Oh no, it doesn't do everything. We're so spoiled.
Ball on you.
Uh-oh. He's anti. He's, burning. Nice. Nice.
Goodbye.
Tell me when you
Soldier,
get
don't-
to it.
Sorry.
I get scared. Mercy 1.
Gonna.
I have Diva now, no Hog. Yeah, okay. I trusted you.
Well, hey, I won.
This was terrible.
We forced an
I
ult.
trusted you.
We can kill inside.
Protect me.
I'll try it. Nice.
I used you to body block. That's
Yeah, I was able to. Yesterday, I was able to like pull somebody to save myself.
Yeah.
I can nano anyone.
There's a platform, Deku, to your right.
Oh, yeah. Oh! Okay. They don't go that far. And I'm booped, and I'm dead. They're going in the...
Oh,
What
that
the-
actually, that was clutch. That was actually clutch.
I got
Nice,
you.
Sam.
Nice.
What? I pulled you while you were remacking, but
Okay,
you
this
died.
is a wasted tree. Alright. Kill the tree.
Killing.
Okay, let's win, We win this. Ashen window,
Yeah. I can platform on the center of bridge.
I think we just do
Yeah,
it like
idea.
right where you just do it on me here when they come out.
Okay.
You can do it. I think.
He took
Hey,
it.
boop me, yeah.
Enemy here.
Is it like possible to do it right under my feet? Or does it like not deploy until I move? Or can it only be beside me? Okay, coming back.
There's a Genji here, retro.
Yeah, I'm running.
Oh!
We have to,
Oh my god.
uh,
Platform bridge. Right there. Your thought screw.
Garcia goes for me.
No, I'm sorry.
Winnable. Thank you, that was actually really good. Oh my god. Ball is gonna retouch. No?
Okay.
Okay. Holy.
So Genji's.
Yeah.
He's on lower.
I don't have my shift. They have Kiriko now.
What are you cooking over there?
He's cooking. Let him cook.
Got
What?
Ball
Here we
ball one.
go.
Nice.
Oh, you're so good.
Oh. I got booped forward.
You're flank kill.
Or the... Yeah.
Good. What? They're pushing
I've seen it
cart.
before.
I'm almost back. I'm gonna go up since you guys are back there. Weaver.
Oh, nice. Bastion?
Wait,
Back to one. Got Bastion.
Nice.
soldier main, careful.
Yeah, I'm running.
Oh, one.
Interesting.
Nice.
I'm coming.
Can you wall me up to the thing?
On it.
Sword on. Bastion's up top.
He's one.
He's so low.
What?
He got yoinked. Sorry.
Oh, I thought I hit him.
No, it's like I'm still not using that. I'm like, what's happening?
We went here.
Yeah, platform.
We job.
Platform went over.
Life protects life.
Nice. Kiri? Yeah.
I'm going
Kiri.
on Lever one.
I got a pull for whoever.
On
I
the
can't
one.
see you. I
Nice.
can pull after res.
Nice.
Oh my god. There's so much stuff on the screen. There's like
Yeah.
trees, there's like stone snares, and there's like all this other
my-
stuff.
My tree placement at the end there. Just cutting off Guru from our whole team. Really good.
It's okay. I was on the flower thingy to help him. Oh my goodness.
Mercy on the high ground.
It would be funny if someone was like alone on the cart and then you pulled them off the cart.
Oh,
C9.
wait, that's so troll.
Or if you leaf
Play
them
the
up
game.
and they see none,
Oh my.
like the enemy.
Yeah, this is definitely a character that you're gonna have to take from people. to lock
Two
it.
faults.
Yeah. Have you guys picked up my death orb?
No,
I
honestly.
have not
Oh,
the
yeah.
game.
Honestly, I forgot it existed.
It does
heals
like
for
decent
quite a bit,
heals. Yeah.
yeah.
You should try it.
I'll shoot a rocket here.
Give it a sniff.
5,
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
He's on the platform. Brick, right side.
Yeah, break low.
Ram hacked. Platform on you, Guru. To your right, You're running into it.
Yeah, I try to. Oh, it's like.
It was on top of something. I have another one in two. Put it on Metro.
Maybe one above. Got him.
Lifeweaver 1.
I'm dead, guys.
Can we play by me? They want to. Oh, they're gonna res. I think. It's okay. It's okay. Soldier
I'm
low.
dead. I'm dead behind.
Oh, we can push the Zarya.
I'm getting res.
Lifeweaver close left, close left, low. Nice, good.
wow. Thank you.
There we go.
Oh. That's so disorienting when I like Guardian Angel to somebody.
Yeah.
And then they're gone and I'm like, oh.
How long do you think you need for EMP? Do I save my visor for your EMP?
What was what?
Do I save my visor for your EMP?
No. I'm gonna use it on the flower.
Okay, can you put it? Just put flower here.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Yep, they're moving right.
Visor.
Move left. I got this.
Dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Two.
Got the EMP. Got the. And
They have their tree probably before
I'm
me.
just gonna EMP it.
Seconds remaining.
I'm gonna push a Zarya up top.
Okay.
I'm pushing her.
And then
I'm gonna rally.
Oh, that was a
Waka.
good.
Stay behind my shield.
Bring low.
What? He's stuck in a
body block in
tree.
here.
He's
I can
stuck in a tree.
Shoot him!
Bro. This is ridiculous. I'm getting out.
Where's the tree?
Oh, the MP.
Oh no! I got the double green!
That was insane.
Catch you later.
Oh.
Kill, get quaked on.
I'll never
Kill
get on.
Aspen, block Aspen off. Never mind. I'm on the high
They might
ground.
have rambled. No?
No, they just used.
Oh, no, yeah, they used the guy.
Before.
Come up here.
Wow. Okay. So what is plainly evident just from watching that video is that there is so much to learn with this new support hero. I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually turn this over to the expert. ML7, you are a support legend in the Overwatch community. So we know the questions that you are going to have are going to be exactly some of the ones that many of our support specialists are going to have. So let's get into the details. Get granular, get nitty gritty. What kind of questions do you know that high rank support players will have?
I'm gonna dive right into it, Andy. I'm super excited about Lifeweaver being added to the support roster because I think that his kit will cover one of the main weaknesses that a lot of heroes in Overwatch have, which is the lack of mobility. I've always classified supports as escapists and survivalists. What I mean with this Escapists are heroes that have a way of running away from team fights, but usually the ways of them running away from team fights are just for themselves. I'm looking at Kiriko's Swift Step or Moira's Fade. And also you have what I call survivalists, as in if you want to take the fight against them, they're kind of forced to take the fight. So heroes such as Ana or Zenyatta, they lack mobility. So I think that Lifeweaver will bring a lot of utility into the support roster, same as similar to Lucio's speed boost, because he gives you the possibility of repositioning teammates in fights, especially with his pull and also with his flower that he lifts his allies up. Now, I got a question for you, Alec, about Lifeweaver. Introducing a new hero always brings a big shift into the meta. Do you think this will be the case with him as well?
I think when we introduce a new hero, yes, they always shake up the meta in some way. I think in particular for Lifeweaver, there's multiple tools that we could see really shaking it up. And that it could be pedal platform, it could be life grip. I think having those both on one support is definitely going to bring some change. Just some of the stuff we've been seeing, some of the compositions and some of the plays you can make. We're excited to see what players at a really high level actually do with all of his tools too.
Do you think that he has a very high skill ceiling to master him?
It's interesting because actually part of our design intention when we were developing Lifeweaver was to have a support that actually didn't require a lot of aim skill. So his primary healing, for example, has homing, you have that charge up, it has a good amount of range, so you don't really have to be super, amazing at aiming to actually play Lifeweaver. What it does take is a lot of team coordination. There's a lot going on. Your teammates might need to be aware of where the platform is when you're going to use life grip effectively. So there's a lot of game sense here with Lifeweaver, but I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a ton of actually mechanical skill because you have that homing healing. And that's one of the things we really wanted to focus in on at the beginning of his development.
You're kind of are you focusing on him in the battlefield with setting up your allies rather than just getting ready to carry your team, I guess, to just raw damage. That's the philosophy behind him.
A lot of it. I still think, Lifeweaver, you still have to fight for yourself. Sometimes you switch to switch to Thorn Volley and can defend yourself in some situations, and knowing exactly, where to throw the platform to is important. But our focus was making another support that was easy to heal on in terms of the aim skill necessary.
And could you describe his playstyle? As in, is this something that we've seen in the support roster so far, or is this something completely unique?
I think these abilities are definitely completely unique in terms of what we've seen in the support roster. I look at sort of Lifeweaver as having very high healing output. So, in terms of who you may pair alongside Lifeweaver, not a ton of burst healing. You have to be prepared for those situations. If you aren't prepared for those situations, his healing isn't as strong, right? But I think the two things we talk about, being able to control space and put your allies in different positions. He can really warp how the fight is approached and how your allies approach it and how aggressive your allies can be. I think some of the examples we talked about, so it's Reinhardt or Genji or, some of those flankers that may go in and they can be a bit more aggressive, maybe a little reckless because they know Lifeweaver is protecting them as well, in some of those battles.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you bring up about having to be a little bit more prepared for healing. And I think, as players are kind of trying to draw some comparisons, and I know ML wants to get into this a little bit later on, but I personally, when I played him in some of our internal play tests, the way that I thought about and approached it was almost kind of like the Kiriko Fudas, right? Where it's or even for me going way back as a WoW player, right? It's the idea of pre-healing, right? Of anticipating the damage that's going to come to your tank, your damage, whoever's getting targeted, right? And having the game sense to know when it's appropriate that you should actually be pre-healing and anticipating that. So speaking of internal play tests, ML, I do remember you have a question actually about some of our internal play tests.
Do you think that Lifeweaver will be as polarizing in the game as Kiriko was team comp-wise? Do you think that he has the possibility of defining the next meta?
Yeah, I think he brings a unique set of tools. So I definitely think there's a chance that Lifeweaver unlocks a lot of compositions. In particular, what damage characters are playing alongside him, which tank characters are playing alongside him. Yes, there is potential there for him to just unlock new things and new ways of playing and new ways that teams are actually approaching the game. Whether that be from because you have life grip, or whether because you have the pedal platform that can actually put your team in new situations and new areas of the map.
Are there parts of his kit that you fear might be too weak or too strong?
I think the one thing we're definitely going to be looking at as Lifeweaver launches is, his healing. How is that healing tuned? Is it actually, too high for how much value he's getting elsewhere in his kit as well? And then I think Life Grip in particular. Life Grip's probably one of those very, it's probably one of those very attractive abilities within a fight. And we need to keep an eye on okay, how much value are players actually getting out of it? Because we think it's very, very powerful. But are players seeing that value immediately, in those first few weeks as they're playing Lifeweaver?
Number-wise, how does his healing and damage output feel like compared to other supports?
Yeah, so his healing per second falls a tiny bit below Mercy. But, you do have that range. You do have the homing. You do have all of that. So it does feel really good. You can be a very high healing output support on Lifeweaver. And the damage is pretty high. It's about 110 DPS on his Thorn Volley. So that can be pretty high. It's one of those skills we see in playtests in particular. As players get used to Lifeweaver, they're using that a little bit more, swapping weapons a little bit more in terms of their, going back and forth. So they're getting more damage overall. But the weapon itself, as I said earlier, is unruly. It's not necessarily, it does have a significant amount of spread, right? So you have to really kind of learn how that feels.
I wanted to ask you, how fast can you swap between his Healing Blossom and his Thorn Valley? Is it similar to swapping from healing to damage boost on Mercy, or is it similar to swapping from the staff to the pistol?
It's faster, actually, than how Mercy can swap. But the one thing you have to keep in mind is when Lifeweaver swaps back to healing, he doesn't have it charged, right? He then has to recharge his healing and get it back up. So you have to be pretty mindful of that in particular, because Lifeweaver at zero charge isn't going to be able to output much healing until he charges up Healing Blossom to some significant level.
All right, folks, we are running short on time, but that is okay because today we are introducing a new segment that we're calling Rapid Fire. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to put some time on the clock. ML7 will have all that time to ask as many questions that he can ask and get an answer from Alec on. Alec, are you ready?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
All right. ML7, are you ready?
I'm good to go, Andy.
Here we go, folks. On your mark, get set, go.
His Life Grip, how do you plan to prevent the troll potential?
There's some baked-in logic there to prevent some troll potential, and we actually allow allies being pulled, they can use movement abilities inside of it, so they can get out of it.
Misclicks happen in-game. Will this ability have a confirmation option like Echo's Copy or Ana's Nano Boost?
It will not have a confirmation option at launch.
Is there an invulnerability to it?
Yes, allies are invulnerable for the duration of the Life Grip ability.
Petal Platform. In theory, can you have 100% uptime of your Petal Platform?
No, there's going to be a little bit of time where you do not have it. It's on a bit longer cooldown, and that is where Lifeweaver is at his most vulnerable.
Can you place a Mei Wall or a Sim TP on top of it?
Yes, you can.
Do you think that this ability might influence the meta the most?
I don't think Petal Platform will influence the meta the most, but it has a lot of neat tricks you can do with it, such as raising up your allies, or hey, see a Risa ulting, you can raise her up, and that ult's going to be kind of not doing anything anymore.
Can you activate it halfway across the map?
You can activate as far as you can throw it. It's actually something you throw from Lifeweaver. It can bounce off walls too. It will not go halfway across the map.
Can you grapple hook to it?
Yes, you can.
Now moving on to the passive, Parting Gift. Does this stay up until he respawns?
It's up for 12 seconds, so slightly longer.
You pick up Parting Gift up like you could back in the day pick up Torbjorn's armor packs.
You just walk over it, and that's how you'll pick it up like a health pack.
How much does it heal?
It heals allies for 250 and enemies for 75.
Can you activate Petal Platform without having anybody step on it?
A player has to step on it. It's a pressure-sensitive platform. At that point, it will rise up.
Can you activate it with a teleport?
No, it will not activate that way.
Does the healing from the ultimate work through walls, or is it line of sight dependent?
It does need line of sight.
Does he have any movement X?
Yes, actually. As you raise up on a platform, if you jump at the top, you'll actually get a much bigger jump.
Does he have a modified headshot amplifier like Kiriko has, or is it the same like most other heroes that can headshot?
It's like most other heroes. It's ×2.
And ding, 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 ding. We are all done there. Thank you so much for that. That was actually a lot of fun. I don't know, Alec, how did you like that?
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Lifeweaver. We're very, very excited about this hero.
Oh, I'm more talking about the rapid fire.
Oh.
We may have to start doing all of our interviews like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about let's wrap things up, folks. There is, like we said earlier, there's a lot of changes coming your way in season 4, from hero balance to competitive updates to quality of life changes. Everything aimed at making Overwatch 2 the most fun and most exciting and the best experience possible for all of you. So for all the details, again, please be sure to check out the season 4 patch notes. Those are live on the official forums right now. Before we get out of here, though, ML, would love to get your perspective on Lifeweaver now that we've had a chance to ask all these questions. I really want to know, from your perspective, what is the impact that Lifeweaver is going to have on just overall game balance, and how may he shift the meta?
I think that Lifeweaver opens up a lot of possibilities that weren't possible before, because a lot of heroes lacked mobility, and he covers that weakness very well. Now, initially, I suspect that he will not be... it will take some time to master his kit, is what I'm trying to say. He seems like a very complex hero, so the more hours we're going to have on him, the more we're going to understand how strong he is. Team comp-wise, I feel like initially people are going to play with him in such a way that you want to like pull allies that are getting dived, but with time, we might see this evolve into trying to speculate that extra mobility that he can offer to his allies by just stacking heroes that he can play with that have a lot of mobility themselves, such as Winston, Reaper, maybe even Genji.
Interesting. Alec, your take on what ML just said?
Yeah, I mean, that all sounds exciting. I think it's one of those things where, once we unleash a hero onto the entire player base, we just are delighted when we see what they come up with too, that we may not have seen in our initial playtest, right? So we're excited to see how Lifeweaver shakes everything up and to see the creative compositions that players build around him.
Very cool. So obviously, like, we don't want you to be like making your meta predictions or your like hero balance tiering, Alec. that's kind of like not what we do. Like, we don't determine that stuff. We let the community talk to us about it, right? But from a design perspective, though, and you as the leader of the hero design team, like, I'm really curious to know, what are you hoping to learn with season 4?
Yeah, I think with season 4, we're really looking at, how, when a new support comes out, like, what do players do initially with that hero? It's been since launch. We haven't had a new support yet. It was Kariko, and now we have Lifeweaver, and just seeing how players adapt to the support that really they need to be aware of, right? I think the platform in particular is something where it's like, Lifeweaver is going to throw it out for you. Are you ready for it? Do you know how to like actually play with this thing? Do you know how to play around Lifeweaver? So I think those are some of the things I'm most excited to see players answer that question. I'm most excited to see like how they're adapting to life grip, and whether that's something they're in the back of their head, they're like, oh, I can do this. I can go in with Reinhardt because I know Lifeweaver is going to protect me. Yeah. I'm excited to see how they really adapt there. And that is something that's, this hero in particular, there's so many tools available in his kit that, it's going to be really interesting.
That's actually super interesting, Alec. I know me personally, I'm super excited to see when the Overwatch League pros get their hand on Lifeweaver. I think he's going to open up so many different comps. I think it's going to be really exciting and interesting to see folks with that kind of like high of a skill ceiling get their hands on him. So, well, I just wanted to take the moment and say thank you to all of you for watching with us. We really appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed this content. Also, take this moment here to say thank you to Mr. ML7. Thank you, ML, for joining us today. Would you like to tell the folks at home where they can find you on the interwebs?
Thank you for having me on, Andy. This has been a lot of fun. If you want to check my content out, then you can just find me at ML7 Support on my social media.
Very cool. Alec, speaking of social media, we know that you've got a very active presence on Twitter, talking to players, answering questions, and even occasionally hosting a Q&A. Where can folks find you online?
Yeah, it's GW_Alec. And, send me some questions if you have them, and I'll do my best to answer them.
And for all of you watching at home, whether you're watching on Twitch, where we ask you to please follow us and turn on your notifications, or if you're watching us on YouTube, where, hey, like, subscribe, please comment in the video below. Let us know how you like this content. But until next time, my name is Andy Belford, and this has been Dev Chat.